Jiwon stared at the ancient data fragment glowing on her screen. Her hands trembled as she read the words for the 100th time. The archive room around her was silent except for the soft hum of old machines. She had been working in this forgotten corner of Nexus 7 for 3 months, and now she had found something impossible. The text spoke of humans, a species that should not exist. A species that every child in the galaxy knew as nothing more than a scary story. She looked up as the door opened. Hyunwoo walked in carrying 2 cups of hot drink. He was her only colleague who still visited her in this dusty place. Everyone else thought she was wasting her time. Still reading those old stories? Hyunwoo asked. He set 1 cup beside her and sipped from his own. His voice was kind but tired. They had been friends since university, and he worried about her obsession. These are not just stories, Jiwon said. She turned the screen toward him. Look at this, coordinates, real coordinates to a star system, and references to something called Earth. Hyunwoo leaned closer. His species had excellent eyesight, and he could read the faded text easily. He frowned. Jiwon, we have talked about this. Humans are a legend. They never existed. The Confederation searched for centuries and found nothing. Then explain this, Jiwon said. She pulled up more files. I have found 17 different sources, all from different time periods, all describing the same species, bipedal. No natural armor, no claws, no venom, but they survived on a death world. They could eat almost anything. They could run for hours without stopping. They could heal from terrible wounds. And they were smart. Dangerously smart, Hyunwoo sat down heavily. He had heard all of this before. The legend said humans were the most adaptable species ever known. They could live in deserts, frozen wastelands, jungles, and even underwater with simple tools. They made friends with predators and turned them into companions. They looked at a mountain and decided to climb it just to see what was on the other side. But the legends also said humans were gone. Some stories claimed they destroyed themselves in a great war. Others said they ascended to a higher form of existence. Most scholars believed humans were simply made up. A story created during the ancient wars to frighten enemies. Why would so many different species tell the same lie? Jiwon asked. She stood up and began pacing. Her excitement was growing. The Velthrons have human stories. The Karathi have them. Even the Silicate Collective has records. Species that never met each other before the Confederation. How did they all invent the same myth? Hyunwoo had no answer. He looked at the coordinates on the screen. Where does this lead? The Terran Void, Jiwon said quietly. Hyunwoo nearly dropped his cup. Absolutely not. That region has been quarantined for 2,000 years. The spatial anomalies there can tear a ship apart. No one goes there. Someone went there once, Jiwon said. She pulled up another file. This data is old, very old. It was recorded before the quarantine, and it says something important was hidden there, something worth protecting. For a long moment, Hyunwoo said nothing. Then he sighed. You are going to do something foolish, aren't you? I am going to present this to the Science Council, Jiwon said. They need to see this evidence. 3 weeks later, Jiwon stood in front of the Confederation Science Council. The chamber was enormous, with seats rising in circles around her. Representatives from all 17 member species watched her presentation. Some looked interested. Most looked bored. She showed them everything. The data fragments. The coordinates. The pattern of legends across different cultures. She spoke for an hour, and her voice never wavered. When she finished, the head counselor spoke. He was a Velthron like her, old and respected. Researcher Jiwon, your enthusiasm is admirable. But this council has reviewed claims about humans many times over the centuries. We have found nothing. The Terran Void is called Void for a reason. It is empty. Searching there would waste resources and risk lives. But the coordinates, Jiwon started, are probably a navigation error from 2 millennia ago, another counselor interrupted. Or a hoax. Or wishful thinking. We have real work to do, researcher. Real discoveries to make. We cannot chase every myth. Jiwon felt her heart sink. She had expected this, but hope had kept her going. Now that hope was crushed, she left the council chamber with her head down. In the corridor outside, someone called her name. She turned to see Commander Mirai approaching. The commander was famous throughout the Confederation fleet. She had fought in 3 border conflicts and earned more medals than most officers received in a lifetime. Researcher Jiwon, Mirai said, I watched your presentation. The council was too quick to dismiss you. Jiwon felt a spark of hope again. You believe me? I believe in evidence, Mirai said carefully. And I believe in curiosity. The Confederation became great because we explored the unknown. Lately, we have become comfortable, safe, maybe too safe. What are you saying? Jiwan asked. Mirai looked around to make sure they were alone. I am saying I have a ship. A fast one, and I have 3 weeks of leave starting tomorrow. If someone wanted to take a short expedition to investigate coordinates in a quarantine zone, well, that would be their own business. Jiwan stared at her. You would risk your career for this? I would risk my career for the truth, Mirai said. Besides, I have always wanted to see the Terran Void. They say the anomalies are beautiful. 2 days later, Jiwan stood in the docking bay with Hyunwoo. He had agreed to come, though he complained the entire time. They watched as Commander Mirai's ship was loaded with supplies. 3 other crew members had volunteered. Doyeon, the xenobiologist, Somin, the engineer, and Jonho, the security officer. This is crazy, Hyunwoo muttered. We are going to fly into the most dangerous region of space to look for a species that probably never existed. Or, Jiwan said with a smile, we are going to make the greatest discovery in galactic history. The ship was called the Starbound Hope. It was small but fast, built for exploration rather than combat. As they lifted off and left the station behind, Jiwan looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the quarantine zone, beyond the anomalies and the danger, was the truth. She could feel it. Hyunwoo sat beside her. Despite his complaints, she saw excitement in his eyes too. Even skeptics could not resist the pull of mystery. Commander Mirai's voice came over the intercom. Setting course for the Terran Void. Estimated arrival time 4 days. Everyone get comfortable. And prepare yourselves. Whatever we find out there, it will change everything we thought we knew. Jiwan closed her eyes and smiled. The legends were about to become real. She was sure of it. The Starbound Hope shook violently as it entered the Terran Void. Alarms blared throughout the ship. Selman worked frantically at her engineering station, rerouting power to the shields. The spatial anomalies were worse than any simulation had predicted. I am reading gravity fluctuations everywhere, Selman shouted over the noise. This is insane. No wonder this place was quarantined. Commander Mirai gripped her controls tightly. Her training kept her calm. But even she had never seen space bend and twist like this. Through the viewport, stars stretched into long lines, then snapped back to points of light. Colors that should not exist rippled through the darkness. Doyeon sat strapped into his seat, his face pale. Are we going to survive this? Ask me in 5 minutes, Mirai said. She pulled the ship hard to the left, avoiding a patch of space where sensors showed time itself was moving backwards. Junho stood behind Mirai, one hand on his weapon out of habit. There was nothing to shoot here, but holding the weapon made him feel better. He was a soldier. He understood enemies he could fight. This place was beyond his understanding. Jiwan and Hyunwoo were at the science station, watching their scanners closely. Despite the danger, Jiwon felt alive. They were closer than anyone had been in 2,000 years. I am picking up something, Hyunwoo said suddenly. Debris, lots of it. And it is old. As the ship pushed deeper into the void, the debris field became visible. Pieces of ancient spacecraft floated everywhere. Some were small fragments. Others were massive hull sections from ships larger than anything the Confederation currently built. These are warships, Junho said quietly. He knew military vessels when he saw them. This was a battlefield. Look at the weapons signatures, Summon said, studying her console. Some of this technology is more advanced than what we have now. How is that possible? This battle happened 2,000 years ago. Commander Mirai slowed the ship. They drifted through the graveyard of an ancient war. No one spoke. The scale of destruction was overwhelming. How many beings had died here and why? The coordinates are ahead, Jiwon said. Her voice was soft. A star system. It is hidden behind the worst of the anomalies. That is probably why no one ever found it. The ship pushed forward. Slowly, carefully, they navigated through the twisted space. Then suddenly, they were through. The anomalies fell away behind them, and ahead was a normal star system. A yellow star, 9 planets, and the third one was blue and green. Doyeon's sensors went wild. Life signs. The third planet has a breathable atmosphere. Water. Plant life. It is habitable. Scan for technology, Mirai ordered. The results came back quickly. The planet showed ruins, cities covered by vegetation, structures that reached toward the sky now crumbling. And in orbit more debris, satellites, space stations, all abandoned. Something terrible happened here, Hyunwoo whispered. They approached the planet slowly. As they got closer, the sensors revealed more details. The cities had been bombed from space. Craters dotted the landscape. Whatever civilization lived here had been destroyed violently. I am taking us down, Mirai said. Doyon, is the air safe? Perfectly safe, Doyon confirmed. Actually, it is almost ideal. The oxygen levels are high. Gravity is standard. Temperature is comfortable. This planet is perfect for life. They landed near one of the ruined cities. The landing site had clearly been a spaceport once. Now plants grew through the broken pavement. Buildings stood like giant skeletons against the sky. The crew put on exploration gear and left the ship. Yunho went first, weapon ready. The others followed. Their boots crunched on broken stone and dead leaves. The city was silent. Wind whistled through empty windows. Somewhere in the distance, birds sang. Life had returned here, but the original inhabitants were gone. Look at this, Jiwon said. She stood before a large stone monument. Carved into it were figures, bipedal creatures standing upright. They had 2 arms, 2 legs, no tails. Their faces were flat with forward-facing eyes. And beside them were carved other species. Familiar species, Veltrans Karathi, others from the Confederation. Those are humans, Jiwon breathed. And they knew us. They knew our species. Doyon was examining skeletal remains found in a collapsed building. He worked carefully, his scientific training overcoming his nervousness. After several minutes, he looked up. These bones match the legendary descriptions perfectly. Bipedal, no natural weapons, but look at the bone density. These beings were incredibly strong for their size, and the skull structure suggests high intelligence. They explored deeper into the city. Every building told a story. This had been a thriving civilization, advanced technology, art, culture, and then it had ended in fire. Junho found something interesting. There is a facility here underground and it still has power. They descended into the depths. Emergency lights flickered on as they entered. The facility was military, built to survive bombardment. In the center was a computer system, ancient but functional. Soman examined it carefully. I think I can activate it. The power systems are still running on some kind of advanced generator. It should last for thousands of years more. Do it, Mirai ordered. The computer came to life. Screens lit up. And then a hologram appeared. A human woman in a military uniform. She was tall and strong with dark hair and tired eyes.
She began speaking in a language they had never heard. Their translators struggled.
The language was old, complex. But slowly words began to come through. Evacuation protocol initiated. All civilian populations relocated to sanctuary worlds. Cannot let them find us. Must disappear. The great departure begins now. The message continued, but it was fragmented. Something about sacrifice. Something about the future. Something about hope. Then the hologram flickered and showed images. Ships. Thousands of ships. Lifting off from cities all over the planet. Humans saying goodbye to their home. And the planet being bombarded from orbit. Not by enemies. By their own weapons. They destroyed their own world, Hyunwoo said in shock. Why would they do that? Before anyone could answer, Junho's communicator beeped urgently. He listened, then his face went hard. Commander, the Starbound Hope is detecting multiple objects entering the system. Ships. Dozens of them. Everyone rushed back to the surface. They looked up at the sky, and there against the stars they saw them. Ships approaching. But not Confederation ships. These were different, sleek, fast. Using technology that should not exist, are they hostile? Doyon asked nervously. Commander Mirai pulled out her communicator. Unknown ships, this is Commander Mirai of the Confederation vessel Starbound Hope. Please identify yourselves. Static. Then a response. A voice speaking in perfect Confederation standard. Commander Mirai, we received your transmission. We have been watching you since you entered this system. My name is Taehyung. I am a pilot in the Human Defense Fleet. On behalf of my people, I welcome you to Earth. Silence. Absolute silence. The crew looked at each other in shock. Humans, Jiwon whispered. They are real. And they are alive. The human ships descended toward them, graceful and powerful. And in that moment, everything the galaxy thought it knew became a lie. The legends had returned. And nothing would ever be the same again. Commander Mirai ordered her crew back to the Starbound Hope immediately. They ran across the ancient spaceport, boots pounding on broken stone. Behind them, human ships descended through the atmosphere, their engines making sounds unlike any Confederation technology. Inside the ship, Junho took position at the weapons console. His hands moved over the controls with practiced ease. Weapons online. Shields at maximum. Stand down, Mirai ordered. If they wanted us dead, we would be dead already. They have been watching us. They could have attacked at any time. Jiwon pressed her face against the viewport, watching the human ships land in a perfect formation around them. They were beautiful vessels, built with curves and angles that seemed both alien and somehow familiar. This is incredible. They are real. They are actually real. Real and armed, Hyunwoo muttered. He was scanning the human ships. I am reading weapons I cannot even identify. Energy signatures that should not be possible. These ships are centuries ahead of our technology. One of the human vessels opened its landing ramp. Figures emerged. Bipedal, just like the legend said. They wore suits that looked like military uniforms, practical and simple. 3 of them approached the Starbound Hope slowly, their hands visible and empty. Commander Mirai made a decision. Summon open the airlock. Hunyo, stand ready but do not aim weapons at them. Jiwon, Hyunwoo, Doyeon, you are with me. We meet them outside. Are you sure about this? Hunyo asked. No, Mirai admitted. But we came here looking for truth. Now truth has found us. They stood at the bottom of their ship's ramp as the humans approached. Jiwon studied them carefully. They looked exactly like the ancient carvings. 2 arms, 2 legs, flat faces with forward-facing eyes. No natural armor or weapons, but they moved with confidence like predators who had nothing to fear. The lead human stopped a respectful distance away and smiled. It was a strange expression, showing teeth, but somehow it seemed friendly. I am Captain Yuna. This is Commander Jiho and pilot Taehyung. We apologize for startling you. We do not receive many visitors here. Her voice was clear and strong. She spoke Confederation standard perfectly, with no accent at all. Commander Mirai stepped forward. I am Commander Mirai. This is Researcher Jiwon, Researcher Hyunwoo, and Xenobiologist Doyeon. We came here following ancient coordinates. We did not expect to find anyone alive. Earth has been empty for 700 years, Yuna said. She looked around at the ruins with sad eyes. We come here sometimes to remember, but we do not live here anymore. Where do you live? Jiwon asked. She could not help herself. Questions burned inside her. Many places, Yuna said. Hidden colonies scattered across the void. Places where your scanners cannot find us. We have been watching the Confederation for a long time. Learning your languages. Studying your cultures, waiting. Waiting for what? Mirai asked. To see if we made the right choice. Yuna said quietly. May I come aboard your ship? This conversation is too important to have standing in the ruins of our old world. Mirai hesitated only a moment. Then she nodded. Inside the Starbound Hope, they gathered in the small common area. Yuna sat across from them, Commander Jiho standing protectively behind her. Pilot Taehyung remained outside with the rest of the crew. You deserve the truth, Yuna began. The complete truth. Not the legends. Not the stories. What really happened? She took a deep breath. 700 years ago, humanity was expanding fast. Too fast, we colonized dozens of worlds. We met other species and formed alliances. We shared our technology and our ideas, and we noticed something disturbing. What? Jiwon asked. We were changing you, Yuna said. Every species we met began to act like us. Your wars became more brutal, using human tactics. Your societies became more aggressive, copying human competition. Your cultures absorbed human stories and human dreams. We were too influential, too infectious, like a disease spreading through the galaxy. Hyunwoo leaned forward. That does not make sense. Cultural exchange is natural. Species learn from each other. True, Yuna agreed. But we learned that humans are different. We adapt to any environment, any situation, but we also make our environment adapt to us. We could not stop ourselves from changing everything we touched. And we realized that if we stayed, the galaxy would become human. All of it. Every species would lose their unique identity and become copies of us. So you left? Mirai asked. We had a choice, Yuna said. Continue expanding and watch the galaxy transform into our image. Or disappear. Let other species develop their own cultures, their own solutions, their own identities. The Confederation you built is yours. You did it without us. You created peace without human interference. But the planet, Doyen said. Why destroy Earth? Yuna's expression became pained. To make sure no one would follow us. To make sure our technology did not fall into the wrong hands. To create a story so terrible that no one would look for us. We made ourselves into a legend. A warning. And then we vanished into the void. Silence filled the cabin. The weight of what Yuna had said pressed down on everyone. That is insane, Hyunwoo finally said. You threw away everything. Your home, your place in the galaxy. For what? To protect species you barely knew? To give you a chance, Yuna corrected gently. To let the galaxy grow into something beautiful on its own. And it worked. The Confederation is magnificent. 17 species working together in peace. You did that. Not us. Jiwon felt tears in her eyes. But you were alone. For 700 years you hid in the darkness, watching but never participating. That must have been terrible. It was necessary, Commander Jiho said. His voice was hard. Military. Sacrifice is part of survival. We survived, and we kept our promise. We did not interfere. Until now, Mirai said. We found you. What happens now? Before Yuna could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. Salman's voice came over the intercom, urgent and frightened. Commander, I am picking up a distress signal. A Confederation colony. 3 systems away. They are under attack. Everyone rushed to the bridge. The distress signal played over the speakers. Screams, weapons fire, and a desperate voice calling for help. The colony of Haven's Rest was being attacked by the Vral Collective, a hostile empire from beyond Confederation space. How many ships? Mirai demanded. At least 40, Soman said. Her hands shook as she worked the controls. The colony only has basic defenses. They will be overwhelmed in hours. Mirai pulled up the tactical display. The nearest Confederation fleet was 4 days away. Too late, thousands would die. I need to contact Confederation Command, Mirai said. No time, Yuna said quietly. She had followed them to the bridge. But my fleet can be there in 2 hours. Everyone turned to look at her. If we help, we reveal ourselves, Commander Jiho said. The Vral will see us. The Confederation colony will see us. 700 years of hiding will end. Yuna met his eyes steadily. I know. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Yuna smiled sadly. We hid to give the galaxy a chance to grow. But we never said we would hide while innocents died. That was never who we were. She tapped her communicator. Jiho, contact the fleet. Tell them we are going to war. Through the viewport, Jiwon watched as dozens more human ships appeared, dropping out of faster-than-light travel. An entire fleet, hidden for centuries, now revealed, the legends had returned, and they were ready to fight. The journey to Haven's Rest took 2 hours. The human fleet moved through space like hunters, fast and silent. The starbound Hope flew with them, tiny compared to the warships around it. Commander Mirai watched the tactical displays in awe. The human ships coordinated perfectly, moving as one organism. Their formation is incredible, Junho said. He studied the patterns with a soldier's eye. Every ship covers another ship's weakness. They move like they can read each other's minds. 700 years of training, Yuna said. She stood beside them on the bridge, watching her fleet with pride. We might have hidden from the galaxy, but we never stopped preparing. We knew someday we might need to fight again. Doyen was monitoring the distress signals from Haven's Rest. They were getting worse. The colony defenses are failing. The Vral are landing ground troops. Thousands of them, Jiwon felt sick. She had seen images of Vral attacks before. They were brutal. The Vral Collective believed in conquest through terror. They did not take prisoners. They did not show mercy. What is the plan? Mirai asked Yuna. Simple, Yuna said. Save everyone we can. Stop the Vral fleet. Show them that attacking Confederation colonies has consequences. Commander Jiho appeared on the communication screen. He was aboard the flagship, a massive vessel called the Silent Guardian. All ships ready. Marine transports prepared for ground deployment. Captain Yuna, we await your orders. Begin Operation Redemption, Yuna said calmly. Remember your training. Protect the innocent. Show no mercy to those who show none. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Haven's Rest system. Immediately the Vral detected them. Confusion rippled through the Vral fleet. These ships did not match any known Confederation design. Their energy signatures were completely foreign. The Vral commander sent a challenge. Unknown vessels, identify yourselves or be destroyed. Yuna opened communication on all frequencies. Her voice was broadcast to the Vral fleet, the colony below, and across the Confederation emergency network. This is Captain Yuna of the Human Defense Fleet. You are attacking a peaceful colony. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Silence. Then laughter from the Vral commander. Humans, the legend. You expect us to believe. His words cut off as the human fleet opened fire. The weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. Beams of pure energy that sliced through Vral shields like they did not exist. Missiles that moved impossibly fast, too quick for point defense systems to track. Kinetic weapons that hit with the force of small meteors. 3 Vral ships exploded in the first 30 seconds. All ships, engage, Commander Jiho ordered. The battle became chaos. Vral ships tried to scatter, but the human fleet moved faster. Every human ship targeted multiple enemies at once. Their computers calculated trajectories and firing solutions in microseconds. The Vral, despite their numbers, could not match the speed of human tactical thinking. Aboard the Starbound Hope, the crew watched in stunned silence. This was warfare at a level they had never imagined. The humans fought with precision and overwhelming force. They are not just winning, Junho whispered. They are dominating. While the battle raged in space, human transport ships broke through to the colony surface. These were commanded by Hana, a Marine Corps leader with 20 years of experience. Her troops poured out of the transports in perfect formation, wearing armor that looked both advanced and practical. The Vral ground forces outnumbered the human Marines 10-1. But numbers did not matter. The humans moved through the colony with tactical brilliance. They used the terrain, the buildings, every advantage. Their weapons were more accurate, their armor stronger, their coordination flawless. Within minutes, they had pushed the Vral back from the civilian shelters. Secure the evacuation routes, Hana ordered. Medical teams set up triage centers. Remember, we are here to save lives, not take them. Inside the colony's main shelter, thousands of civilians huddled in terror. They were Velthrons, Karathi, Silicates, and a dozen other species. When the human Marines burst through the doors, weapons ready, the civilians screamed. But the humans did not fire. They lowered their weapons. A young Marine named Seojin stepped forward, removing his helmet so they could see his face. We are here to help. The evacuation ships are landing now. Please, let us get you to safety. The civilian stared at him, at his flat face with forward-facing eyes, at his bipedal form with no natural weapons. One elderly Velthron stepped forward. Human? She whispered. But you are just a legend. Seojin smiled gently. Legends can come back. Across the colony, human medical teams set up emergency centers. Minho, the chief medical officer, coordinated the efforts. His teams treated everyone. Confederation citizens, even wounded Vral soldiers. You are helping our enemies? A Karathi doctor asked in shock as human medics worked on a captured Vral warrior. Minho looked at him steadily. He is wounded. That makes him a patient, not an enemy. We help everyone. That is what we do. In space, the battle was ending. Half the Vral fleet had been destroyed. The rest were retreating, jumping to faster-than-light speeds to escape. Commander Jiho let them go. The mission was to save the colony, not annihilate the enemy. All Vral forces have withdrawn, Jiho reported. Colony is secure. Casualty reports coming in. Yuna closed her eyes in relief. What are the numbers? Colony population was 12,000. Current count, 11,843 confirmed safe. Missing and presumed dead, 157. Wounded, over 2,000 being treated now. It could have been so much worse. Without human intervention, everyone would have died. And our casualties? Yuna asked quietly. 3 Marines wounded, none dead. 8 ships damaged but repairable. The efficiency was stunning. Against overwhelming numbers, the humans had won with minimal losses. But the real consequences were just beginning. News of the battle spread across the Confederation at faster-than-light speeds. Every communication network carried the same story. Humans were real. They had returned. And they had saved a colony from certain destruction. On the colony surface, Jiwon walked through the medical centers with Doyun. She watched human doctors working alongside Confederation medics. She saw human Marines helping rebuild damaged structures. She saw Seojin sitting with a group of frightened children, telling them stories to calm them down. These are not the monsters from the legends, Doyun said softly. They are not the brutal warriors the stories described. No, Jiwan agreed. The legends were wrong. Or maybe we misunderstood them. Humans can be brutal. We just saw that in battle. But they choose not to be. They choose compassion. Commander Mirai stood with Captain Yuna watching the sunset over the colony. Smoke still rose from damaged buildings, but the immediate danger had passed. Your secret is out, Mirai said. The whole galaxy knows about you now. What will you do? Yuna watched her people working among the colonists. Human and alien, side by side helping each other. We will do what we should have done 700 years ago. We will face the consequences of our existence. No more hiding. No more watching from the shadows. The galaxy will change, Mirai warned. Not everyone will welcome you. Some will fear you. Others will want to use you. I know, Yuna said. But we cannot control how others react. We can only control our choices. And today we chose to save lives. That is enough. Above them, the stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Among them were ships. Confederation vessels arriving to investigate. Media ships broadcasting the story across the galaxy. And human ships no longer hiding, standing guard over the colony they had saved. The age of legends had ended. The age of truth had begun. The Confederation capital world was called Unity. It was a beautiful planet, built specifically to house the government of 17 species. Towering buildings reached toward the sky, each designed in a different architectural style to honor each member species. In the center stood the Great Council Chamber, where decisions that affected trillions of beings were made. Now that chamber was filled with tension, Ambassador Yunji stood before the assembled council. She was human, tall and dignified in a simple uniform. Behind her sat representatives from all 17 member species. Beyond them, billions watched on screens across the galaxy. This was the most important session in Confederation history. Jiwan sat in the observer section with her crew. She had been called to testify about her discovery. Now she watched as humanity's fate was decided. The head counselor called the session to order. His voice echoed through the vast chamber. Ambassador Yunji, you stand before the Confederation Council to answer for 700 years of deception. You hid from the galaxy. You watched us in secret. You manipulated events from the shadows. Explain yourself. Yunji remained calm. She had prepared for this moment her entire life. We did not manipulate events. We observed them. And we hid because we feared ourselves more than we feared you. Explain, another counselor demanded. Yunji activated a holographic display. Images appeared above the chamber floor. This is Earth 700 years ago. A thriving world with 12 billion humans. We had just developed faster-than-light travel. We were excited to join the galactic community. More images. Human ships exploring, meeting other species, forming alliances. But within 50 years, we noticed a pattern. Every species we encountered began to change. Their warfare became more aggressive, copying human tactics. Their societies became more competitive, adopting human values. Their cultures absorbed human stories. We were too influential, too infectious, a Karathi counselor interrupted. That is natural. Cultures exchange ideas, not like this, Yunji said firmly. We studied it carefully. Humans adapt to any environment, but we also make environments adapt to us. It is in our nature. We cannot stop ourselves from changing everything we touch, and we realized that if we stayed, the entire galaxy would become human in spirit if not in body. Every species would lose their unique identity. Sujin, a human historian, appeared on screen. She had been allowed to present supporting evidence. We have records of 14 different species who encountered humanity. Within one generation, their crime rates increased. Their innovation accelerated. Their art began to reflect human themes. Some saw this as progress. We saw it as cultural genocide. So you decided to disappear, a Velthran counselor asked. To fake your own extinction? We decided to give you a chance, Yunji corrected. To develop your own solutions. To build your own peace. And you did. The Confederation exists because you created it, not because humans told you to. This is your achievement. Your pride, your identity. Commander Mirai was called to testify next. She described finding Earth, meeting the humans, watching them fight to save Haven's Rest colony. They did not have to help us. They could have remained hidden. But they chose to act. They chose to save lives even if it meant revealing themselves. Jiwan testified about the legends, how every species had stories of humans. how those stories shaped cultures across the galaxy. We thought humans were a myth, a warning about power and danger. But the real lesson was about sacrifice, about choosing to step back for the greater good. The debate lasted for 3 days. Some counselors praised humanity's sacrifice. Others condemned their secrecy. The Vral Collective sent a message declaring humans a threat to galactic stability. They demanded the Confederation reject any alliance with humanity. On the 4th day, the Vral made their position clear in the worst way possible. Alarms blared in the council chamber. A Vral battle fleet had attacked Sanctuary, one of the hidden human colony worlds. The Vral had tracked human ships back to their home and launched a preemptive strike. The chamber erupted in chaos. Ambassador Yunji closed her eyes. This was exactly what humanity had feared. Their return had brought war. Commander Jiho appeared on the council screens from his ship. Sanctuary is under attack. 40 Vral warships. They are targeting civilian population centers. How long can you hold? The head counselor demanded. As long as necessary, Jiho said grimly. Human colonies have defenses the Vral have never seen, but they have numbers, and they fight without mercy. The council watched the battle unfold on screens. Human defense platforms engaged the Vral fleet. Missiles and energy weapons filled space. Ships exploded on both sides. Then something unexpected happened. 3 human ships broke formation. Instead of continuing to fight, they moved toward damaged Vral vessels. Tractor beams locked onto the crippled ships, pulling them away from the combat zone. What are they doing? A counselor asked in confusion. Minho's voice came over the communication channel. Vral ship Designate 7 has catastrophic hull breaches. Life support failing. We are evacuating their crew. They are our enemies, the head counselor shouted. They are wounded, Minho replied simply. We help everyone. That is what humans do. The battle continued for 6 hours. The Vral lost half their fleet. The humans lost 3 defense platforms and suffered heavy damage to 2 colonies. But they never stopped rescuing wounded Vral from destroyed ships. Finally, the Vral commander called for a ceasefire. His voice was filled with confusion and anger. Why do you save our warriors? Why show mercy when we showed none? Captain Yuna responded from the Silent Guardian. Because we remember what it means to lose ourselves in hatred. We remember what it cost to become monsters. We will not become what we fought against. We offer peace. Accept it or leave. But know this. If you attack Confederation worlds again, we will stop you. Every time, the Vral fleet withdrew. In the council chamber, silence reigned. Every counselor had watched humans fight with devastating efficiency. But they had also watched humans show mercy to their enemies. Watched them rescue crews from ships that had tried to kill them. The head counselor stood. I call for a vote. Should humanity be invited to join the Confederation as the 18th member species? The vote took an hour. In the end, 15 species voted yes. 2 abstained. None voted no. But when the results were announced, Ambassador Yunji surprised everyone. We are honored by this offer, but we must decline. Shock rippled through the chamber. We appreciate your trust, Yunji continued, but we cannot join as full members, not yet. We are still learning how to exist in the galaxy without overwhelming it. Instead, we propose a partnership. We will share our technology. We will defend Confederation worlds. We will participate in cultural exchange, but we will not vote on Confederation policies. We will not lead. We will not dominate. Kyungho, representative of the human colony world, stepped forward. We ask for only one thing. Designate Earth as a memorial world. Let it remind everyone of what we gave up. Let it remind us of why we left. Let it teach future generations about the cost of power and the value of restraint. The council debated for hours. Finally, they agreed. Humanity would be a partner species. Not members, but allies. They would have a voice, but not a vote. They would share, but not control. 3 months later, Jiwan stood on Earth with Yuna and Taehyung. The planet was slowly recovering. Plants grew over the ancient ruins. Animals returned. But the monuments remained, reminders of what had been lost. They stood before the memorial built at the site of humanity's last message. The hologram still played, showing that long-ago human commander explaining the Great Departure. Do you regret it? Jiwan asked. Giving up everything? Yuna considered the question carefully. We regret the loss. We regret the loneliness. But we do not regret the choice. Look at what the Confederation built without us. 17 species working in peace. Art and culture flourishing. Scientific advancement driven by diverse perspectives. That would not have happened if we stayed. But now you are back, Jiwon said. What happens now? Now we learn, Yuna said. We learn how to be part of the galaxy without overwhelming it. We learn from you as much as you learn from us. We become partners instead of leaders. Taehyung pointed at the sky. Human and Confederation vessels orbited together, their crews working side by side. It will not be easy. Some will always fear us. Others will resent us. But we have time. And we have learned patience, Jiwon smiled. You know what I realized? The legends were not wrong. Humans are dangerous. You can be brutal and terrifying. But you are also capable of incredible compassion, incredible sacrifice. The legends taught us to fear human power. But the truth teaches us to admire human choice. Above them, the sun set over Earth's healing landscape. In orbit, ships from across the galaxy worked together, building a future that neither humans nor the Confederation could have built alone. The age of legends had ended. The age of partnership had begun. Humanity had returned not as conquerors but as the galaxy's greatest lesson in humility. They had been powerful enough to disappear and wise enough to come back in the end. That wisdom was their greatest strength, greater than any weapon, greater than any technology. The wisdom to know when to step back and when to step forward. The wisdom to choose compassion over conquest. The wisdom to remain human in the truest sense.